Hello, everybody. My name is Aaliyah Beavers, and I serve as the Director of the Student Diversity Equity and Inclusion Office. And welcome to a presentation about our office. We also have today.
Asia Rodriguez, and I am the coordinator of diversity programs for the Student Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Office, and I will be joining.
So we're going to go through a presentation with regard to information about our staff members in our office, some programming offerings, and then there will be an opportunity for you to ask questions at the end via email. So make sure you stay for that part of the presentation so you can hear more. So again, my name is Aaliyah Beavers. I serve as the Director of the Student Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Office. My pronouns are she, her, hers. My hometown is Dayton, Ohio. And you can talk to me about anything. Basically, I am an open book. I love to share my story about my journey as a Black woman. And I also like to talk to students about their persistence in college. We also have Hannah Zodi. She serves as the assistant director of our office. Pronouns are she, her, hers. Her hometown is Portland, Oregon. We have Faroj Garon. Faroj is our coordinator of international programs. His pronouns are he, him, his. His hometown is Nepal.
And again, my name is Asia Rodriguez, and I am the coordinator of diversity programs, and my pronouns are she, her, and hers. Hometown, South Padre Island area down in the Rio Grande Valley, for any of you who may know where that is. You can talk to me about being a Texan. You can talk to me about anything social justice. You can talk to me about theater. You can talk to me about being multiracial. There's lots of stuff that I am very excited to talk to people about, and generally just really consider it an honor to be able to speak with students and be able to support y'all in any way that I can. And then we have Joshua Quinn, who serves as the coordinator of Women, Gender, and Sexuality programs. Joshua's pronouns are he, him, and his, and Joshua's hometown is San Antonio, Texas. And then Nick Arvizu serves as our staff assistant. Pronouns are he, him, and his, and Nick's hometown is Douglas, Arizona.
So who are we as an office? So our mission and vision of the office is to be committed to cultivating and supporting, nurturing and affirming a diverse university environment. In this environment, we want to make sure it fosters authentic and inclusive relationships among all members of the UHCL community. Our three tag words for our office are advocacy, guidance, and support. So we strive to further the retention and empowerment of our diverse student population, and this includes race, color, sex, including pregnancy, religion, national origin, disability, age, veteran status, genetic information or sexual orientation, gender identity, gender expression, first generation, and all other historically underrepresented student populations. And if you have questions about any of the populations that were mentioned in this definition here, we're happy to answer those. We also have some core values for our office. And so critical thinking is that first core value. And so basically, we think that critical thinking skills are imperative to student success. And so we promote the development of problem solving skills, and we definitely value innovation in our office. Diversity. So diversity, we seek to create a culturally enriched environment, which is representative of all UHCL students' backgrounds and identities. We want to make sure that those are incorporated and included into the office. And so we educate around privilege and oppression and social change. Next up is inclusion. And so we definitely want to encourage respect among differences in cultures and identities through cultural awareness, acceptance, and teamwork and collaboration. Integrity. And this basically is where we seek to promote integrity and honesty in the facets of any individual's life. And so we promote cultural awareness while educating about power and privilege. We value commitment and accountability, and we strive to instill these values in UHCL community members. And last but not least, personal and professional development. We want to make sure that we teach students who are to be successful in the university setting, globally, in diverse settings, and a variety of other settings. And so We want to make sure that students are able to navigate their respective identities, communicate effectively. We value mentoring, self discovery, identity synthesis, and basically, we want to make sure that students learn how to maintain a respectful and professional presence in any context.
Awesome. Okay, so additionally, we have identity and heritage celebrations each month. And so they traditionally go along with the celebrations that generally happen throughout the year and that are sort of relegated to months, whether or not they should be, right? But so specifically, we are currently celebrating Hispanic and Latinx Heritage Month. And we'll celebrate also Pride Week. We will also be celebrating Native American Heritage Month, International Education Week. Something that we've additionally added is a First Generation Student Week that will be happening in November. We'll also definitely be celebrating Black History Month, Women's History Month. And then there are many, many others that you can read here on the screen. But these are really an attempt to kind of get at that diversity and that inclusion that Aaliyah was talking about previously. So look forward to those. We also have several different dialogue series that are happening because, specifically virtually, we really want to make sure that things are focused on that critical thinking piece and that we are making sure that people are able to actually get their questions out and ask them and get some real honest information and be able to dialogue back and forth. So Voice It is one of those spaces, and it's an informal space to explore, discuss, and connect over ideas about one another. And so these are some really interesting conversations that end up happening and that are facilitated by our staff and then joined in by students. So it's a collaborative effort at learning. Then we also have Breaking Bread, or sort of lunch and learns, where we invite somebody who is, an expert or who has a lot more knowledge, at least in one respect, because there's a bunch of different kinds of knowledge, right? There's lived experience, there's book knowledge. And so they will bring that knowledge in and sort of help to present some information that we can then have kind of a dialogue about. And then it's a sort of a pop culture evaluation, if you will, because a lot of times people will just say, it's just a movie, it's just a joke, it's just a game, it's just a song. But all of the words that we take in on a daily basis and that we use on a daily basis create our realities. And that's something that we believe and something that we want people to evaluate and think about in a more critical way. And so we also have a lot of different support systems for organizations, groups, and individuals. Obviously, we have training and education. We have an entire series of trainings that are available for people to join in, to request basically from us. We also have event advising and collaboration, and specifically through sponsored student organizations. You can apply if you're within an organization that shares values with our office, and then you can get a hold of some of those office resources and utilize our abilities to specifically sort of help those organizations. We also have a international student advisory board, and then we will additionally be working on a first generation student advisory board, which I'm really excited about, as part of first generation student support and programs. Yeah. And so first generation student support, it's really expanded a lot this year specifically. We have sort of one major facet of it is First Gen Fridays. And so the thing that you all would need to know is that first generation support is something that nobody has to sign up for. There's not a link for it. There is a link to get to the actual events, but there's no registration. If you are a first generation student, you belong. You just get access to the information and come to the events virtually, or hopefully, eventually in person. But for now, First Gen Fridays, there's something happening every single Friday pretty much at 2 o'clock. And those are a bunch of different kinds of meetings. And it's supposed to help um, facilitate community, specifically with those support meetings. That's a time when myself and some other first generation students will sort of be taking the pulse of the first gen community and determine what kind of support they need. So we might be doing stress reduction, or having somebody who's a first generation faculty or staff member come in and sort of share some wisdom. Um, Something that's developed recently is we now have presentation meetings. So we have specific offices who are going to be coming in and giving presentations about all of the different services that they can provide for first generation students. So for example, the end of this week, we will have the Math Center come in to actually present. Um, and then we also have training meetings, and there's 6 different topics that these training meetings will cover. And these meetings are the ones that you can actually come to sort of gain um, points or gain the possibility to end up winning a shirt as well as a stole. But we don't want people to focus on the swag, right? Because we really think the community is where it's at. And that's also why we have social meetings, and those are specifically planned by first generation students. And really looking forward to seeing what some of those end up being. Some projects that we have underway that I'm really excited about is creating a first gen advisory board. So that is a group of first generation students who really want to be active in helping to make decisions about first generation students and for them. And then ideally, we will also be working on a first gen liaison program. So this kind of isolates, or maybe not isolates, but highlights specific faculty and staff that are sort of liaisons to first generation students, maybe in specific offices or in specific departments. And then First Gen Bulletin Board. We have a very large bulletin board space in the student lounge. And so we wanted to potentially isolate one sort of specific spot so that first generation students knew that they could go there and see what is happening among their community, so that we can really get the advertisement and the word out there. But ultimately, we just really want to be able to expand and support all first generation students, of which there are, it's almost half of the school. Honestly, it's almost 4,000 students out of around 9,000 students. So you're not alone if you are a first generation student. And I look forward to meeting you and seeing you at any of these events. So.
Thank you so much, Asia, for sharing that information. Beyond our dialogues and our first generation student programmings and other support for our organizations, we also just have some office resources for all students to utilize. So we do have a diverse library of a variety of different books on a variety of different topics. We also have sexual health resources that students can stop by and have access to. We have crafting supplies. There's a computer station available, a charging station. We have a quiet lounge area, a games library. And then when we are back to officially being on campus and able to be around one another again with regard to social distancing and whatnot, we will have a free coffee, and then there's a microwave access. But definitely for now, come by our space, utilize our quiet lounge area, interact and engage with the folks who are in the space, and utilize those resources. Additionally, and Asia talked a little bit about our programming, and so because of our current situation, much of our opportunities are going to be online right now. And so the Voice It program that we talked about earlier is held every other Tuesday via Zoom, and so we'll be doing that as a virtual program in addition to our Breaking Bread, so which is again a dialogue focused on the critical discussion of important issues. That'll also be held via Zoom. And again, we'll have some social media games and contests. And so our various social media platforms, Facebook, Instagram, and you can log on to those spaces and see what's out there and participate in one of our games and or contests. And I'll toss it to Asia to talk quickly about our opportunities, spaces that you can go to online.
Yeah, so I just wanted to highlight one of those games that we just recently did. We just recently played Loteria, and that was a lot of fun. I think we're definitely planning on doing that again. And so, if you've heard something that piqued your interest and you are very interested in coming to attending virtually or eventually once we can in person, please, please, please follow us online at Facebook. We have facebook.com/UHCLSDEI. That SDEI stands for Student Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion. We are also on Twitter at UHCLSDEI. And then we are also on Instagram. And we've actually done some events where we've gone Instagram live. So just keep that in mind. And that is at UHCLSDEI. But we have a very active presence online. There's also a lot of opportunities for educational resources online, additionally, that we sort of post in a rotating style. So, we'll have like a Feminist Friday posting or a Woke Wednesday posting. And so we try to really vary up our information that we are posting, because there's so many different groups out there, so many different identities and lived experiences that we want to represent equitably and advocate for. So please, please, please follow us.
And last, contact SDEI, either those various platforms or by email, so we can learn more about how the office can best support you. And then any types of program you'd like to see from our office. We are here to work with and engage with students, and we want to do the things that you all want to see from our office. And so contact us so you can learn more about any of those things, any of our programming. And even if you just stop by and say hi and see what our office is all about, we'd love to have you do that. So with that, we will end here. And thank you so much for participating. Have a good day.
Thank you all.